happens when you have a heart wall, it interferes with your ability to really connect with other people and to give and receive love as well as you should. There was a woman who came in to see me many years ago, and she came in to see me because she had neck pain. She'd seen a couple of other doctors for this problem, and they hadn't been able to help her. So she came in to see me as kind of a last resort. And as I was talking with her, she told me that she was single, and she had not dated in 8 years, and she was never going to date again. And she was only 38 years old, and she was an attractive person. And I said, well, why do you feel that way? What happened to you that makes you feel that way? And she said that 8 years before, she was really deeply in love with this guy who dumped her and broke her heart. Now, remember, she came in to see me because of neck pain. So I tested her and found that she had this phenomenon going on, this heart wall phenomenon. And we don't use any electronic equipment to measure this heart wall. It's all done through muscle testing, which is very simple. We simply ask the body questions, and the subconscious mind responds through a strong or a weak muscle test. And so I was able to figure out there were 3 emotions that were wrapped around her heart, 3 emotional energies, if you can imagine. And I released those 3 emotions. It probably took about 10 minutes. When the last one was released, suddenly the neck pain was gone. That's what she'd come in for. It was completely gone. And so she was very excited and very grateful. And she left the office and didn't come back. About 3 months later, I'll always remember this, she walked back into my office, and I looked at her and I said, hey, I said, you haven't been here for a while. You look great. What's going on? She said, she said, my neck has been fine since I was here. But she said, you cleared that heart wall from me, and that really works. She said, because about 2 weeks after I was here, I found out my childhood sweetheart has been living right around the corner from me for almost 8 years. And we're dating, and we're in love, and I think he's going to ask me to marry him. And this is the kind of thing that happens. This is a side effect of having this wall, is that when that wall is there, it makes it more difficult for you to really be able to connect, to find your soulmate. If you're alone, you have got to look at this. If you're having a hard time with relationships, or if you're attracting the wrong kind of person into your life over and over and over, you have to look at this, because this is an invisible part of our makeup that is yet so incredibly powerful, even though we don't see it, and the vast majority of people don't even know that it's there. Nevertheless, having this wall taken down can radically change your life. And as I said, every case of severe depression that we have seen, this is the first thing we look at now. The first place we go is to the heart, to remove this wall, to take down this wall around the heart, and to allow that heart to breathe, in a sense. And it's amazing how fast it can change. I personally, in my own practice, have seen people so suicidally depressed, they had to make that decision every day if they were going to live or die that day. And I've seen people that bad recover in a matter of days. And the biggest underlying reason has always been that wall around the heart. So there's much, much more going on with the heart than we ever thought.
So, Dr. Bradley Nelson, we only have less than 10 minutes left in this show, and luckily you're coming on again next week. So can we release our own trapped emotions, our own heart wall?
Yes, you absolutely can. In fact, the information is in the Emotion Code book, how to do it. Now, we also offer a certification program, and we have people jumping into that all over the world now. We've got almost 5,000 certified Emotion Code practitioners now in 77 countries, and that's a great way to actually learn the process and really master it. But it is available also in the book, and the book is coming out as a hardcover in May. But anyway, it's a simple process that you can do yourself, and you can learn. And do the process on yourself. So if you can imagine, it is very possible, and people do it all the time.
So we want to, I understand that emotions are vibrations, and I'm thinking about Dr. David Hawkins, who produced that chart of the higher self and joy, very high vibration to very low vibration. So how do you change your own vibrations?
Well, it's this is a question that I had back all those years ago when I was in practice. I had people coming in to see me who had all kinds of problems. They were suffering from depression, anxiety, phobias, panic attacks, eating disorders, PTSD, self-sabotage, problems like infertility, asthma, digestive disorder, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, cancer patients occasionally, and of course all the typical kinds of pain, from migraine headaches to low back pain and so on. And I was focused on trying to get to the root causes. What was the underlying problem? What was really going on with these people? I was not interested in band-aiding these people. I was interested in getting to the underlying causes and actually fixing them, because I believed that's what they were coming to me for. And that's really where this came from. And I was in the habit, I learned as a young man that there's a higher power, and we can draw on that higher power. We can ask for help, and if we ask, we receive. And so during all those years that I was in practice, before I would go to work on somebody, I would take a moment and pause and just silently ask for help from up above for that person. And that's really where this came from. It came from up above. It's not about me. I believe that I am just the messenger, really, that has been given this healing method to bring this into the world at a time when the world desperately needs healing.
Yes.
And, right?
Absolutely.
So,
and Dr. Bradley Nelson, in your book, The Emotion Code, by the way, you can get that just about in any bookstore and on Amazon and all the other internet sellers?
Yes, it's available all over. Mm-hmm.
You also write about using magnets to help you release your emotions.
Yes. Well, you see, the world of energy is a world that we're not really used to, because we're so used to this physical, three-dimensional world that we have been seeing and feeling and touching all of our lives. But if you can imagine that the body itself really is nothing more or less than a very complex field of energy, your body is more of a force field than anything else. I mean, your body is 99.9999999% empty space. Think about that. And so it's a strange thing for most people to start thinking of the body that way, but nevertheless, that's what the body is. So because of that, you see, these emotional energies distort the normal energy field of the body. If you can imagine, let me share a story with you. There was many years ago, there was a man who came in to see me who had severe low back pain. And on a 0 to 10 scale, it was a 9. And I found that he had a trapped emotion that was causing the pain. That the emotion was anger. And the answers that were coming back through muscle testing from his subconscious mind were, this had actually occurred about 20 years before. And he remembered what had happened. He had been through something difficult, traumatic, and he was very upset. Well, that emotional experience that he had gone through at that time was so powerful that that energy became stuck in his body, trapped in his body. In this case, it became trapped in the area of his low back. So now all these 20 years later, he's in my office, and his pain is at 9 on a 0 to 10 scale, with 10 being call 911. And I tested him, found he had this trapped emotion of anger. I released that emotion, and the pain went from a 9 to a 0 within about a second. I mean, just almost instantaneously.
Wow.
And he couldn't believe it. It was kind of miraculous to him, and he kept exclaiming how it was just unbelievable. Well, I was grateful that it worked so well. But a couple of days later, he came back in to see me. And he said, Dr. Nelson, he said, my back is still fine. He said, I still can't quite believe it. But he said, I have to tell you something. He said, when I came in here, I had another problem that I did not tell you about. He said, for as long as I can remember, I've basically been what you'd call a rageaholic. I'm always yelling at my wife and my kids. I got to watch the road rage. He said, I've been to anger management several times. Hasn't really helped me. But he said, whatever you did, when you released that emotional whatever, that anger, he said, that has changed me. He said, I don't feel the anger anymore. I just feel kind of peaceful. I feel kind of relaxed. He said, how did that work? And at the time I said, well, I really don't know. But what we believe now is that when you have a trapped emotion, your body is literally experiencing that vibrational energy of that trapped ball. In this case, it was anger, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when a situation would arise in his life where he might tend to become angry, he would become angry. He would slide right into that emotion, right into that vibration, much more easily, much more readily than he otherwise would have. Why? Because literally part of his body was feeling that emotion of anger 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so when we release these emotions and we clear people's emotional baggage, all kinds of things change. They change physically because we are removing this distorting energy field from the body itself. And because the body is just an energy field, that removes that distorting influence. But also we're changing how people feel mentally and emotionally because they no longer have those frequencies in their body. It's an amazing thing. It's very simple, very rapid, very easy to do, and yet it's something that Western medicine is really just starting to wake up to.
Wow. And on that note, Dr. Bradley Nelson, I am so glad you're coming back next week. Dr. Bradley Nelson, author of The Emotion Code, How to Release Your Trapped Emotions for Abundant Health, Love, and Happiness. Thank you, and I'll speak to you next week. And this is Dr. Duffy Spencer saying goodbye for now and wishing you great relationships.